All right, guys, welcome back to part two of the Caltracs install for the 95-96 Tacoma. Unfortunately, we had too much content to put it all in one video. Otherwise, you'd have about an hour's worth of video in front of you and probably lose interest by now, especially if you got to look at this face. So anyway, part two, here we are. Don't forget to do all the stalker stuff. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that good stuff. So now what we're going to do is, now that we've got everything kind of hung, what I did is I actually changed things up since the last part you saw here. And we took a ratchet strap and just hooked it around the frame, support the axle. We took our transmission jack, put it underneath the leaf spring here. So just kind of underneath the center point of it. This way we can kind of just use the jack stand to jack this up into place. So now what we're going to do is we're going to re-lubricate this. Make sure that we get it slide in here pretty good. Make sure it's lubricated all the way across. We got lubrication all inside, so everything's looking pretty good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the Caltracs plate here. It goes in with the pin up and this facing downwards. So it goes in like this. And then the pin goes in. A little messy, but that's okay. And that's it. You just let that rest just like it is. Now, the shackle will kind of move a little bit, so sometimes you have to just make a adjustment on your shackle. See if you can get this thing to come back a little bit, or not. If we take this and just kind of pry it like this, go back just enough right there, we get to line up. We'll make sure that this free floats pretty easily here. The adjustment tension bar goes here. Everything's real good. We'll take the nut and bolt. Use that mechanic finger special. Look, no eyeballs. And there we go. That's on there. It's pretty good. So now that we've got that set, we're going to take this ratchet strap off of the differential. And what we'll do is slowly lower it down onto the leaf spring. We can do that. Hopefully I have enough here. Just enough. Do that over the top of the lowering block. And if we can get the camera open over here, what we can see is that there's a pin and there's a hole. Just like that. Now we're going to lower this down. Just going to lower the differential right onto the top of that lowering block. Once we get close, we may have to line it up a little bit. We found it's a little easier if you kind of get it started in the hole here and just inside of the stud down there. Now, this is kind of tricky. Don't pinch your fingers here. But what we're going to do is just lower it down. And since the holes are already started, it just kind of falls right into place. But don't worry about the rest of this, because when you put the U-bolts in, that will suck that in nice and flat. So we're pretty good there. Okay, next is your shock mount. Now this one, the shock goes to the rear. And this is standard on this truck. That side over there is the one we modified. This one here is standard, so shock goes to the rear. This can always be a little bit of a pain, just because they're always just a little bit, you gotta stretch the U-bolts just a little bit to get them in there. Okay, got enough there to get it started. Just get a nut and a washer on it to hold it. When you go to tighten it down, to make sure you have equal parts. This way it's not trying to wrap the U-bolt around. Once we get to torquing this down, and we're not torquing it down right now, we're just kind of snugging it so that everything's secure. But once we get ready to torque it down like we did that side, we want to make sure that our threads are equal. It doesn't have to be down to the absolute thread count. Just want to make sure you're not trying to suck the U-bolt around and trying to reform it or anything like that. So just try to keep it somewhat uniform. All right, now what we're going to do is get this out of the way. This piece here goes in like this. Now, we're going to get this in here just for the video. And then we'll come back and probably grease everything. So I've tried to put the greaser facing upwards just because if it hangs down, it hits a rock or something, it just shears that off. If you do go to grease it, you just unbolt it, drop it down, grease it, put it back on, you're good to go. This front one, what they do is they put it downwards like this. We're probably going to do the same thing. We'll just take this apart, drop this down, spin it around the other way, and make it legit that way. One of these is a left thread, one of these is a right. And this one is not right. What I do is I run this all the way down. Run that all the way down. We'll take this one. Just kind of do the same thing. Just like that. We'll get it close to where we want it to be. And then we'll turn this, there we go, so it matches up. And we're just going to throw the bolt through it. And that's about it. Now, what we did on that side, just because once we get on the ground, we're going to play with it. And as you can see on this side here, we kind of put a clamp on it. And the reason why we did that is to keep the spring off your adjustment bar. We can also see that our pin is all the way down on the top of the spring here. I'm not sure where to set this at yet. We just kind of set it up in the air like this. I'll probably make an adjustment on that one and keep it off the top. Keep the pin off the top of the spring temporarily, just so once we get it on the ground, we can start a preload and everything else. Also on this side here, we may put that clamp on it because you can see it is hitting right here. So when it hits, it keeps us from making a quick adjustment on it. So I'm sure that once this thing's sitting on the ground and we have weight on the spring and everything's going up, this probably isn't going to hit. It's probably only going to touch while it's up in the air, just because the suspension is sagging, so everything else is sagging. But once we get on the ground, we'll take a look at it and make some adjustments at that point. It may not need that clamp on it, but just so we can work on it, we put that clamp on it temporarily. So from here, what we'll do is we'll torque everything down. We'll mark everything just like we did on the other side. And then we'll set it on the ground and start making some adjustments. Other than that though, I think that's pretty much comes to a conclusion. Shocks here are double adjustable. They are bound and rebound. And they're pretty neat setup. They valve these for slicks or for drag radials, kind of depends on what you're using. And they're set up for the Tacomas. Now this is 95 Tacoma here, so it'd be pretty much the same as a 95, 96, maybe first few months of 97. So what we're working on today is we're working on these little boogers right here. So you can see here, we have a selection of the shock spacer deals. They go inside here, and they have different bore diameters, and that kind of depends on the shaft that you have, the shock shaft that you have. So what we have over here, so if you look over here, you'll see that we already did the modifications to do a rear mount on this side. So when I machined this stud here, I was able to machine it so it fit perfectly. It bolts up just like this with the spacer on the outside. But on this side here, this is a factory deal. And what we're having to do is just doesn't quite fit over it. Just almost there. And by my measurements, we're about probably 15 thousandths bigger in diameter here than what we have here. So if we measure the ID versus the OD, we have an interference of about 15 thousandths. Well, it's not bringing it right to the size. We got to actually bring it down smaller. So it means we probably need at least 5 or 10 thousandths of free play area. What we want this to be is about 5 to 10 thousandths smaller. About 5 thousandths should do it. Hopefully it doesn't make it bind. 10,000s, it'll be a little loose, but at least it won't try to bind up on it. But the important thing is making sure that this goes on here. Now, I wish I had an easier solution, but I don't. So what we have is some emery cloth. And we're just gonna go get after it. I've already done a bunch already, and we're just gonna keep going until it fits. So here we go. We want to go all directions. A little bit challenging. Depending on how fast it removes material. Now, if you use a heavier grit, it's probably gonna wear your sandpaper out a little faster. But we don't want it to be a rough finish. We want it to be a smooth finish. We'll try to get as many different angles as we can here. Almost there. Took a black Sharpie, kind of marked it a little bit to see where the high and low spots are, right in there. So you can see it's. Then I took the sleeve and I slid it over the top. And what we have is a wear spot there, and there, and there. So that helps us to fine tune which is the high spots. Fitment, it fits. That's it, it's on there. So now that it's on there, it's somewhat free. Okay. That fits pretty good. Now we're going to take this over to the vise. Press that in. That should fit on there, just like that. Pretty nice and snug. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to put this one in. I'll come back and I'll torque it all down. The proper torque specs will mark it and everything, but that's about it. It's bolted down there. It's mounted down here. We put our shock adjustments at the bottom, so it's easier to roll underneath the bottom of the car and make your adjustments instead of having to try to get your arm through here, go that way. I guess you could probably do them upside down. I don't know if they work any better or not. Maybe the valving wouldn't allow it, but we just put them on the bottom because in my day of drag racing, it was just easier to reach in the bottom and grab it, click this way or click that way. So, all right, guys, that concludes part 2. Thank you guys for watching the videos, and please ring the bell, do all the stalker stuff, the like, follow, and subscribe, and all that good stuff. And if you want to see more content like this, please let us know. Drop something in the comments, a message, an email, whatever it is. But yeah, it's pretty cool ride here. So if you want to see more like this, please follow us. Stay tuned.